Hey, Luke, do you like black people?
Why?
Well, because, according to the Daily Mail, which I assume you read, that's why I was asking, Sinners breaks Titanic's Oscars record as it earns most nominations of any movie in history.
I won't, of course, tell you my full thoughts on it, but it's good, and it was very popular. And well, the crucial thing is why its success can be explained. It's because the Academy voters actually watched this one. They actually watched Sinners, so that they nominated it.
Okay, that's actually very good. And you know what I had to say, Luke? Sinners, more like winners.
Well, that's the thing. It probably won't win that much. It will probably have the lowest percentage if you're looking at nominations to wins, because it's been nominated for so much, and I think one battle after another will win a lot of awards.
Somminations, more like no, yes, yeah. That's unfortunate for them, but at least they get a shout out.
Yeah, I mean it's more than a shout out.
Yeah, at least they're getting some at least they're getting a participation trophy. Is all I'm saying. Like well done, cool.
Well, again, like they probably won't get that many trophies, but
Okay, cool. Yeah.
Is that a participation nomination?
Hello and welcome to Select and Reflect, the movie review podcast where we look at films that have come out in the near and distant past. We give them a couple of watches and evaluate them beyond first impressions. I'm your host, Michael, and I'm joined as always by my co-host, Luke. And this week, we are celebrating the Oscars by looking at every film nominated for Oscars, Best Picture rather, at this coming Oscars. And this week, we are looking at Bugonia. So Luke, why don't you tell us a thing or two about Bugonia?
Have you not heard anyone pronounce this?
No, I've not heard anyone pronounce it. Bugonia. I'm assuming it's like Italian.
Have you not seen the Red Letter Media video where they review Bugonia?
No, I know this sounds like some gay shit, but I actually often don't watch Red Letter Media reviews until I've seen the thing they're reviewing, unless it's like slop. Like basically, if it's slop, I'll watch the review, but if it's not slop, then I stop.
To be fair, I did not know this was going to be nominated for Best Picture, which is why I watched it, because this wasn't a guarantee to be nominated. But for instance, Sinners, as we have mentioned, and One Battle After Another, that was always going to be nominated, so I would have skipped any spoilers. But yeah, I already knew about the premise of Bugonia. And yeah, Yorgos Lanthimos has done it again. He's got another movie nominated for Best Picture. So shout out to that guy. But yeah,
the Greek god.
The Greek god himself. Is it him? Or...
He doesn't have the body of a Greek god. That's
No.
Stavros.
Yes. Well, I was just about to mention one of the stars of this movie, but yeah.
Yeah, I beat you to it.
Good shout. But yeah, we'll get to Stavros Halkias in a bit. But firstly, Bugonia. It's a 2025 black comedy film directed by Yorgos Lanthimos and written by Will Tracy. It is an English language remake of the 2003 South Korean film Save the Green Planet. So I'm not sure if you were aware, but it is a remake.
I found that out because of I watched this like really insightful video that actually told me that.
Okay, what was the title of that insightful video?
I believe the title of the video was Bugonia 2025 Sucks and is Trash. So
okay, and we'll see if that influences your opinion on the movie. But yeah, so it stars Emma Stone, Jesse Plemons, Aidan Delvio, Stavros Halkias, and Alicia Silverstone. She's barely in it.
I was gonna say, yeah.
It was released on October the 24th in the United States of America. And can you tell me, Michael, what the budget was for Bugonia?
Well, presumably it went almost 100% the cast. But then, having said that, like the cast, like they like they like working with this guy. So I'm almost like I feel like they would have done it for free. So it really should be very low. But I also feel like because this guy's movies are pretty successful, because he's well established, they would have been willing to give him a big budget. And in a way, like you don't say no to a big budget. Fuck it, 10 million.
I'm sorry, how is that a big budget?
Oh, well, again, sorry, I had multiple different points
Is this
of
fucking
contention.
1995? What the fuck are you doing?
Well, like, the movie presumably costs £0 to make because, like, it's just people in a room. Like, you could make, like, we could make this movie with just, our spare change. So I'm saying, bearing in mind, I feel like the movie should have cost, like, less than $1 million. I feel like they gave him an inflated budget of $10 million. That's what I'm saying.
Obviously, the movie looks very good. It's a very good-looking movie.
Yeah, I know, but that's talent. That's not money. That's talent. That's raw talent.
And there are some interesting set pieces, it's not just in a room.
But I feel like my memory is that like the spaceship looked a little bit like a YouTube skit. That's actually not an insult because like I get like it's his style and stuff, but like poor things, I'm like, oh, that probably cost a load of money. fucking favorite things. The favorite.
Okay, the Poor Things, the production design was really good. This, I think the production design isn't as good because it doesn't need to be as
Yeah.
good, but it's
I
still quite
mean,
decent.
So
So come on,
I'm just saying, like, any amount of money I guess is going to be more than I actually feel like you would need to make the film. But fine, I don't know, like 30 million.
Okay, 45 to 55.
Yeah, okay, whatever. I guess that's Starmonomics for you.
And what about the box office?
I don't know. I really have no idea. I genuinely feel like this movie at best made slightly more than its budget back. I just don't feel like I'm going to say 50 million.
Good guess. It's
I always
41.2.
do.
Didn't make back its budgets, but of course, with the Oscar nomination, I think that will help, at least on streaming and so on. Okay, Michael, tell me, did you like Bugonia?
Oh, you know what? Yeah, I did actually. So I feel like well, but the thing is, okay, I have two opinions on this film, and by telling you my first opinion, you will then work out where I'm going with the second opinion. So my first opinion on this film was, oh, this is really good because it's just having such an effect on me because it's so disturbing. It's so disturbing that this poor woman has been kidnapped by these crazy guys, and she has no idea what's going on. She's just completely at their mercy, and they're doing all this crazy stuff to her, and she's just like a regular woman who's found herself on the receiving end of these insane people, and that's just like a really emotionally charged situation in terms of like how disturbing it is that she's just at the mercy of these crazy people. Now, like I say, you can probably then imagine where I'm going, which is when you then find out actually this woman is an alien. To be honest, I found that disappointing. So now I know some people have said that ending is part of the reason why they actively dislike the film. For me, I still on balance like the film, but the ending to me personally knocked it down from like, oh, this is a really good movie to, yeah, it's a good movie. Like I enjoyed it, but I didn't like the ending. I thought that kind of took away a lot of what I liked from the first half. Because, or not even first half, but like the main substance of the film. I was like, oh man, this is like such a disturbing story about this like innocent woman who's just totally caught in the crossfire of these people's psychoses, and that was very much undone by the ending. So that's basically my take. What do you think?
See, it's very, very interesting. This is a very interesting movie to talk about because once you learn about the background, so the original film and what happens there.
Yeah, I'd be interested to see the original film.
The ending is not surprising, and I was aware of what happened at the end, that Emma Stone's character was actually an alien. So I was aware of that throughout watching this movie. So that coloured everything a bit differently for me compared to you. Again, I wouldn't have done that if I just, of course, knew. It would have been.
You didn't want it to be spoiled, but you did, and that's fine.
Yeah, it would have been better to be in your situation. Potentially, but I do like we have a contrast in terms of you didn't know what was going to be happening at the end, and I did, so that colours everything for both of us in a different way, and you found it unsatisfying, and I didn't find it unsatisfying really as much as you potentially, again, because of course I knew what was going to happen.
Yeah, so I'd be interested to rewatch this film. Like, definitely. This is one of those films, I like going into films that aren't spoiled, but then once they've finished, I'm like, oh, actually, you know what, now I want to go into this film spoiled and see what's going on.
Yeah, because ultimately, this Emma Stone character, who's called Michelle, by the way, the CEO that has been kidnapped, she is a bit of a weird person. She doesn't react. I mean, you keep calling her this poor woman. Honestly, she reacts like somebody who is kind of used to these hostage situations, or somebody with a greater intelligence than most, and that could be because she is a CEO, and maybe I had this theory, maybe she's been trained for these situations, that could be one theory as to why she was talking like because she was calm, she was trying to negotiate. Again, she wasn't freaked
she said
out.
like, oh yeah, it's gonna be loads of police looking for you, you're gonna pay, you little suckers.
Yeah, she didn't say that though. That's the thing. She was polite. She wasn't like freaked out that much at all. Again, so that's interesting in terms of this could be an interesting portrayal of this CEO, and how different they are to the rest of humanity. And we get to the end of the movie, and of course, she's not an alien because that's stupid. But it does show that these people at the top of society, the elites, they are so dissimilar to the average person, they may as well be aliens. It could have gone down in that. It could have gone in that direction, and I think that would have been very interesting. And I think it perhaps would have been a better movie. I was thinking, would that be possible? With how the movie is going, and I think yes, it would be and I think you could keep in a lot of the stuff that happens until the twist happens. But of course, I knew that wasn't going to be the case.
Yeah.
At the same time, once you research the movie, which of course I did, and the background, and of course the original South Korean movie it's based on, you realize, it was always going to end this way. It was always going to be, yes, Emma Stone is actually an alien. That was always going to happen. And the movie is making a thematic point about humanity. It's, and if Emma Stone wasn't an alien, that thematic point would be, it wouldn't be there. It would not exist.
Yeah.
And so it would be a completely different movie. So you can't just analyze it on like, should the twist have happened or not? No, the twist that Emma Stone is an alien is essential to the point of the movie. And again, so I think though there is a potential for a different movie, which I think could be better, but it would be it would take things in a completely different direction, and it would again have very different thematic points. So that's why it's a very interesting movie for that reason. Okay, so let's get into the development then, if you will, Michael.
Development of an English language remake of the South Korean film Save the Green Planet by Jang Joon-hwan began in 2020 with Will Tracy adapting the screenplay and Jang attached to direct the remake. Ari Aster was signed on to produce and was instrumental in the hiring of Tracy and the decision to gender swap the central character from a man to a woman. That sounds pretty woke. Yeah, I didn't realize they were doing that.
Well, so what do we think of the fact there was a gender swap? Because I think it works.
It makes her seem more vulnerable.
Yeah,
kind of.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, and a female CEO, I think they're the more likely to be the targets of the ire of conspiracy theorists compared to male CEOs, because there's the sexism angle, and these guys, they're isolated. That there will be some potential incel tendencies. He literally makes it. Well, he's a volcel, isn't he?
Yeah, because he's castrated.
Yeah, he does that voluntarily. That's the thing. So the CEO would have to be either female or Jewish. I feel like, or maybe black, or black. Like they'd have to be some minority. Because I
feel like if you went for Jew, having them then be an actual alien wouldn't work.
Yeah. Well, why?
Oh well, I'm just saying because then it would then it would reveal the secret. They can't because women aren't actually aliens. Is what I'm saying.
But Jews are.
Yes.
Okay.
Good.
Okay. Well, I was going to get into the anti-Semitic. Well, it's there's the whole lizard people thing, which of course is an anti-Semitic conspiracy, which this movie doesn't go into. Which again, I'll discuss in a bit. But yeah, I think that there needs to be this personal dislike. Again, it's not necessarily.
Yeah, well, that's why it shouldn't even be South Korea, because in South Korea everyone's all the same. So how do they even have any animosity? Surely, if you just had everyone be a perfectly homogenous society, there wouldn't be any issues.
Yeah. But yeah, obviously conspiracy theorists are white. They are racist. Well, I say they're racist. They're more likely to be racist. They're more likely to be sexist. They're more likely to be, again, very angry. And of course that lends itself to, online subcultures, which again, so I think the fact that the CEO isn't a white man makes sense. And of course, it would be if you're copying it directly from South Korea.
Yeah. Well, because Elon Musk, he's a white man who's a CEO, but he feels like if anything, the conspiracy theorists would be there to thank him for being based. So
exactly, yeah, because he's based. Yeah,
very different movie.
Well, you asked rather racistly why there would be a kidnapping in the South Korean version, but you will get into the differences between Bugonia and the original South Korean film in this next paragraph.
Yes. So, differences from Save the Green Planet. Tracy stated he only viewed Save the Green Planet once before beginning working on the screenplay for Bugonia, just like me in reviewing it, and did not attempt to faithfully reproduce the original film's story in his script, as he preferred for the two films to stand alone from one another. In the original, the film is focused on police corruption and the Korean class system. The captive is Kang Man-shik, a middle-aged male industrialist. He is much more arrogant and smug than Michelle, representing the old-school patriarchy of Korean society. Ultimately, it is a tragic scream against an abusive government, while Bugonia feels like a mocking look at how we all become lost in our own digital versions of reality. Yeah, those two sound quite different thematically.
Yes.
It sounds like some real Parasite shit.
Yes. Well, yeah.
They love
Again,
that class system in Korea.
well, they don't love it. That's the point, I think.
Oh, I know, but it helps them make good movies. So
Okay. Yeah. Good. Yeah. I guess that is the advantage of a
yeah.
very hierarchical class system.
North Korean movies are terrible because it's all just like everything's fine, we're all equal, everyone's happy. It's boring. There's no conflict.
Yeah. There's no conflict. That's why. Yeah. North Korean films have never been nominated for Oscars. Yeah. It's
Exactly,
a shame.
Yeah.
But I think. Yeah, it's a good idea to adapt this movie because, of course, I think it lends itself very easily to be adapted in the modern day compared to the early 2000s. Because, of course,
Internet.
Conspiracy theorists, this is their golden age, particularly since COVID.
Yeah, they're on a generational run.
Yes, it's of course everyone's more online. Everyone is just a bit crazy, and so the crazy people are even more crazy. So yeah, it's a good idea to remake this. Yes.
Yeah.
In the year 2025.
Yeah.
And just, well, interestingly, you talked about the differences from the original Korean movie. The CEO in the original Korean movie is also an alien. So
yes.
that is not a difference. That is the same. And that is why, again, I am not surprised that Emma Stone was an alien, because that's what happened in the original movie.
No, yeah, absolutely. It makes sense. And yeah, I would say I actually like the fact that they didn't recreate it perfectly, because now it means that we have to actually go and watch a Korean movie. That's what I think they should do when they do remakes. It shouldn't be so that idiots don't have to watch foreign movies because reading subtitles is hard. It should be so idiots go, oh, I wonder how the other movie is different. Well, probably nerds go, oh, I wonder how the other movie is different. I might watch this South Korean movie.
Yeah, but the point is, it's a very different movie thematically. But it does have, but crucially, it does have the same ending. Yes.
Yes. Anyway, let's continue. Jang would later step down as director. In February 2024, it was revealed that Yorgos Lanthimos would be directing the remake. Emma Stone was also in talks to star in the film, making it her fourth collaboration with Lanthimos. Yeah. Do you think they're fucking?
Probably
behind
not.
the scenes. Okay.
Probably
cool.
not. Probably not. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. Like, Yorgos Lanthimos did make her a prostitute. Well, among other things, she was also a surgeon. But she was a prostitute in Poor Things, and in Kinds of Kindness, I know there is a sex scene with her in that. So you know what? Maybe your theory is correct, Michael. But crucially, in this movie, the two protagonists do not view her as a sexual object. No. And a point. So maybe. Yeah, exactly. Maybe Yorgos Lanthimos is reforming himself. But no, I just want to ask you. What do you think has been the best collab? Because 4 collaborations is insane. It's literally the meme from Peep Show. 4.
Yeah.
4. That's in just 8 years. Because The Favourite was their first collab, which was 2017. So,
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Interesting question. So my thoughts are, I actually was thinking until the end. I was thinking, this is Yorgos Lanthimos' most accessible movie. Possibly maybe second to The Favourite, but I feel like with The Favourite was weird in a lot of ways. In terms of what's best, I haven't seen The Favourite recently. I actually think that this film is maybe, I don't know. I feel like The Favourite, it probably makes sense to say The Favourite because that's like actually there's a lot of really good acting there, and it's really like good stylistically in terms of how it's constructed, and there is like a whole weird conspiracy conflict thing, and I haven't seen the third one, so
but I think Poor Things or The Favourites are very good movies, of course, as well. But I think I think this one is better than both of them, honestly. I think this is her best collab with Yorgos to date, but of course she won an Oscar, didn't she, for Poor Things. So I don't think that's going to happen this year.
The acting is the acting was not subtle in Poor Things either. So she's got an easy job. She just looks like a crazy person, acts like a crazy person.
Well, again, as we said
if
in
I
Poor
look
Things,
like a crazy person.
As we said in Poor Things, her acting was impressive because it was the transition from being a literal baby to this woman.
She changes a lot. Yeah,
and you need skill to pull that off.
Here she transitions from being a human to an alien.
Yeah, although the character is the same throughout, and I don't think it's like an incredible performance. Although she is meant to she does what she needs to do. I think honestly the best performance is Jesse Plemons, who is incredible. I think he's actually really good. Like he fits this role so well. Honestly, he might get. I don't know actually if he's going to win Best Actor at the Oscars, but you know what? I'm going to be interested to see if anyone is better than him.
Yeah.
Yeah, because well, it's going to be Timothée Chalamet, isn't it? Actually, no, it's going to be Chalamet in Marty Supreme. But yeah, when we
well, he's doing really good work. I think he said. Like he said,
Yeah.
like I'm better than everyone else, and everyone else sucks cock.
Yeah, that's what he said. Yeah, but when we review Marty Supreme, I will hit Chalamet's performance to Jesse Plemons because he set a high bar here.
No, yeah, no, absolutely, yeah. I think that he's no. I think that the weird fat guy, not the Greek fat guy, who was okay. I'm going to sound really stupid here. Who was Jesse Plemons' buddy? Like, who was that actor? Is he like a guy? Do I know him?
No, you probably don't know him. No,
Good.
No.
Okay,
It's
that's a relief.
Aidan Delbis, who
Okay.
was going to make a point. I think did a good job. You know.
Yeah,
but
he
yeah,
was fun. I literally can't, like, I try and remember him and he just becomes the fat baby JD Vance. Like, JD Vance with, like, the hair. It's, like, so annoying. That's all I can remember him as.
I see that. So let's move on to the title. Why this movie, of course, was called Bugonia by Yorgos and Tracy.
Bugonia is the name of a folk ritual described in some ancient Mediterranean texts, including Virgil's Georgiques. It involves sacrificing a cow, believing that bees would spontaneously generate from its carcass, not the bees. This symbolizes how new life can only thrive once the corrupt carcass of human civilization is gone. Well, of course, we know that in the Book of Judges, some bees make honey in a lion carcass. Hence, the line, out of the eater, something to eat, out of the strong, something sweet.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Powerful.
Yeah, so obviously I think the bees are symbolic, and well, that's where the title comes from. Bugonia, you know, you can see the metaphor there. But yeah,
Bugonia.
Obviously, I think the bees are involved as well in this movie, as Emma Stone kind of wants humans to be more like the bees. You know,
Yeah, not kind of be like individualists, not like think for themselves, just kind of like go along with what. Yeah.
And then you have Jesse Plemons being a beekeeper, you know, creating this obvious parallel. You know, which is a bit on the nose, because Teddy says at one point the bees are easy to exploit, which, you know, that's what Emma Stone is trying to do with the humans. So yeah, well, at the stage, of course, we think that's what's happening, but yeah. Do you like the bee symbolism?
Yeah, I think I do. I think they could have done with some bee puns. You know, maybe they could have got Jerry Seinfeld there. They could have they could have had a kid and he could say, "Oh, you got a good job in your on your report card, all bees." I think that would have worked. I mean, I think it is obviously. It's interesting because there are, weirdly, the Bee Movie doesn't do this, but obviously there are movies about ants, and both those movies about ants are pretty overt social commentary, where the kind of superorganism lifestyle of ants is very much a focus. And I feel like, this idea of people using bees and other drone-like bugs as social commentary is quite well worn, but yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense, I guess.
Yeah, I think you could say like the social structure of a beehive is like the hierarchy of modern capitalism, and of course you got the queen and the SEO, you know, and the drones, I think they're called, right?
Yes,
and the workers, of course.
Yeah, I think they're called NPCs.
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 Yes. Okay. And of course, the film suggests that humans are undergoing their own version of this colony collapse, which is, of course, interesting. Yeah. But yeah, it's not the first. It's not the first piece of media to draw a parallel between humanity and bees, which, of course, we have to remember the Borg from Star Trek: The Next Generation, which are basically. I don't think initially they were meant to be like bees, but you know they all conform. They're all part of this hive. And they eventually, it's revealed in the movie they do have a queen bee.
Oh no, yeah, thank you for letting me know. That's useful. Thank you. I'm glad that I learned so much about the Borg.
Okay.
Bugonia. That's clever.
Yeah, it works perfectly.
Anyway, let's get into the script. Conspiracy theorist Teddy Gatz tries to convince his autistic cousin Don to participate in a scheme. Do you like a good scheme, Luke? Do you know who's doing a lot of scheming? People are really in charge of the world. Yeah. Maybe there's kind of like an ironic inversion. They're the ones scheming. Yeah,
it's a very interesting start to the movie because you don't actually know what these two are going to do unless, of course, you know what's going to happen. But again, I'm analysing it from a perspective of someone who hasn't seen or doesn't know what's happened and hasn't had the movie spoiled. And things are just hinted at, and yeah, they are both clearly quite weird. And Teddy is manipulating his autistic cousin as well. So yeah, I do like the start because there's a lot of suspense that is built up because you're like, oh, what are they going to do? What's going to go down? Because it's not going to be something normal. It's going to be something a bit weird.
Yeah, I was kind of interested because when you think it's just going to be I know I'm jumping ahead. When you think it's just going to be a kidnapping, you're like, okay, this is pretty normal. What's happened to our lovely Yorgos Lanthimos? But yeah, obviously there is an indication from their erratic personalities. And I hope that's not autistophobic. That there's going to be something going on. Now, meanwhile, Michelle Fuller, the CEO of the pharmaceutical conglomerate Oxolith, is abducted by Teddy, Gatz, and Don. Teddy's mother, Sandy, previously participated in a clinical trial for an Oxolith drug that rendered her comatose. Yes, so obviously they're kind of a little bit like, dare I say, Luigi Mangioni's, right? Going after a medical company.
I did mention
heroes like that.
I did mention him later, Luigi Mangione. But yeah, so this is how the subversion worked because the subversion, well, one of the subversions is of course the twist, but also like the theme is of subversion because the theme of the movie is actually humans are the bad people, and these aliens are actually who own the pharmaceutical companies are actually the good guys, which is the point the movie is making. But of course, yeah, pharmaceutical companies are just killing people. That's unfortunately what happens sometimes, and of course then that leads to conspiracy theories, and that was particularly prevalent during the COVID pandemic. And of course, I immediately thought of COVID and the vaccine and how certain people blame loved ones' death on the vaccine. And yeah, I think Emma Stone's CEO character, Michelle, just a very stereotypical like new CEO in the modern age, talking about diversity and freedom, using those buzzwords. And yeah, I do like the kidnapping. It's a very straight out of a Yorgos
bit farcical
Lanthimos movie, exactly farcical, and filmed in a weird way, and has this cynical undertone to it as well. Yeah, I was like, I mean, you can watch that scene and who's the director, and I think you'd know.
Yeah, it's funny. But yeah, like I say, farcical. Teddy has come to believe Michelle is a member of a malignant alien species known as the Andromedans, who are killing Earth's honeybees, destroying communities, and forcing humans into numb subservience. Yes, conspiracy theories, already covered this. And so were they? Do you know if there were conspiracy theorists in the Korean version, or were they just like mad?
No, I think they must have been conspiracy theorists.
I know. Yeah, I was just wondering if it was like they were just like wanting vengeance or something for some whatever. But yeah, sense.
Yeah, I think the guy in the Korean movie is more violent. But yeah, I think it's an extra level up from normal conspiracy theorists. Because of course, people believe. Well, there are people who believe in a new world order, and they look at Davos or the World Economic Forum as evidence that there is this new world order controlling everything behind the scenes. And of course, who can forget that Klaus Schwab song?
I think I made it. Are you ready for the new world order?
Are you ready for the new world order? No more human rights or borders. We will own your sons and daughters. We will train them to support us. We make the problems, then blame you for the damage and everything we do. The conspiracy theories are coming through. If you don't stop us, you're screwed. Yeah, it's somebody said the other day, it was on Twitter, it's like, when people say that there's no good examples of right-wing art, how about the Klaus Schwab song? Yeah.
No, yeah, absolutely. You've got to put respect where it's due.
As you can see, it's made quite an impact on me. This is Klaus Schwab.
I would say almost too much impact. I'm a bit concerned.
You must give more of your rights away. Your sacrifice is the only remedy for the real pandemic humanity. But that's the thing, in this movie, the real pandemic is actually humanity.
Yeah, this movie's conspiracy. This movie is right. They're right. So good. Well done. Glad. Happy for them.
The elites who, are in charge of everything, and then again, that's the whole subversion, of course. The elites who are in charge of everything, who are running the world, they actually are trying to save humanity because it's so fucking shit. But yeah, again, Alex Jones always used to go on about the fact that people were aliens, And
Yeah.
you have the lizard people thing, of course, which is, as I referenced before, that is anti-Semitic, which is why, if the CEO could have potentially been Jewish, although maybe that would have been too on the nose, of course. And maybe it would have even gone into anti-Semitism because, like the Jewish CEO is actually an alien, and of course, and I don't think Emma Stone's character Michelle, I can't remember her surname, but yeah, I don't think she is she is Jewish, right?
Pass her as Jewish. No.
Well,
do we ever find out her surname? I don't know.
What do you mean you couldn't pass her as Jewish?
Oh, sorry, you say she doesn't pass as Jewish.
Yeah,
because
So tell me, what would a Jewish CEO look like, Michael? Would they? Well, tell me, what would they? Some of the features on their face. Well,
I think they would look distinguished.
Distinguished. Good word.
Go. Thank you. Yes. But yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. I think they couldn't have led into conspiracy stuff too hard. Teddy and Don imprison Michelle in their basement, shave her head, and cover her body in antihistamine cream to prevent her from sending out a distress signal to other Andromedans. Yes, so this it turns out they were correct, which is good. Yeah, it is interesting when you're watching this movie and just assuming that they are crazy. Did you feel sorry for her, or were you like, good, I'm glad this alien's getting what she deserves? Send her to that El Salvadorian prison.
Yeah, Emma Stone can never look normal in a Yorgos Lanthimos movie. Yeah. Did she look normal in The Favourite? Maybe, I don't know. But of course, it was set in the 1800s. But yeah, I guess she's got another Best Actress nomination from it. So there you go.
Well done.
Yeah.
Proud of her.
Yeah, the shaved head, an iconic look. But yeah, I think if you thought aliens were real, you'd do this. You'd slather on the cream, and then, of course, cut her hair or whatever. I like that. It's like, oh yeah, this is realistic. So, and at this stage, what was I thinking? Since I knew she was an alien, I was just like, yeah, this seems all good. This seems like something that would happen.
Exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I would. Yeah, I was like, good. I'm glad they're kind of following standard protocol. Teddy explains that she has 4 days to negotiate a meeting with the Andromedan Emperor before an upcoming lunar eclipse, which will allow the Andromedan mothership to enter Earth's atmosphere undetected. Yeah, ticking clock. That's always justifies torture,
Yes. So yeah, again, this is what I was talking about before. In terms of, I like how Emma Stone is trying to negotiate like a CEO. She's trying to take control. And she's very calm and polite in a situation where, again, I think most normal people who aren't aliens would be very scared and freaked out. Again, I speculate, if she was actually a human, maybe she'd have training for this situation, and that's what maybe people were meant to think. Like she is a human, but she's acting like this, of course, because she's been trained, because of course she's this powerful CEO, and people might want to kidnap her, so that she knows what to do. But of course, she is an alien, which of course undercuts all of that, because I kind of like the idea, again, which I referenced before, like, oh yeah, she's acting very weird because these CEOs are basically aliens, even though they're not. So she's acting in a way which I don't think most people would, but it doesn't really matter. Because the alien thing doesn't matter because she's not acting normal. But of course, that's not at all the direction the movie wants to go down, is it?
No, absolutely not. No, yeah, they're very much going down the route of, well, I don't see. I'll tell you my interpretation. I always thought it was kind of like when I was watching this, obviously not thinking she was an alien. I was thinking it was more like, because she's so confident, because she's so rich, she like views these people as beneath her, so she doesn't actually view them as a threat. That was like mine, just in case you're wondering like where I was coming from. Like the fact she's just like negotiating with them, she's just like, look, this is not going to end well for you. You just need to do what I say, blah, blah, blah. Like my interpretation was, oh yeah, she's a woman who's just in so much control of things ordinarily that she's used to the idea that people based on, and also kind of like an aspect of rationality with the way that the business world works, where it's all very kind of cold and calculated, meeting insanity. That was like my interpretation, which obviously was not what you ended up with.
No. So it's an interesting interpretation, I guess.
Yeah.
I'm not saying you're wrong, of course.
No,
I would never say.
Well,
that.
I am wrong about the actual reality of what was happening.
Yeah, I just want to also say I don't know how this guy is aware of all of this, all these Andromedans, because internet research can only take you so far. Of course.
Well, yeah, that's the thing, right? Yeah, you're right.
We find out he's experimented on some, but again, how do you find them? How do you know that you need to cut their hair? Because I feel like, again, like this guy isn't. If he was in a job which gave him access to information others didn't have access to, then fair enough. But of course, he is not in that job. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I people talk about like conspiracy theorists being crazy, blah blah blah, and I saw some people in the context of this movie being about conspiracy theorists saying, "Oh, this is like about how like sometimes conspiracy theorists can be right," and I was saying, but it doesn't really work because they don't actually seem to have any reason for what they believe. I always like say this, like whenever people have conspiracies, I'm always like, even if you're right, you wouldn't even be vindicated because you don't have any apparent evidence for why you believe what you're saying.
Yeah.
So it's like, the fact that you, and that's kind of, basically what you're getting, like the fact we don't know why he thinks it, even though, maybe there's, but again, who cares about this movie having logical sense? It's pretty crazy. Andromedans. Also, so they're from Andromeda, right? Anyway, after torturing Michelle with electricity, Teddy deems her psychological tolerance to the electrocution as evidence that she is actually a high-ranking member of the Andromedan royal family. Yes.
Yeah, so I like this.
Yeah.
This ups the stakes because he's like, oh, he's actually torturing this woman, and he's going even further with his conspiracy theory. And again, this is what is needed to progress the plot. I think it's a nice escalation. So I think it's well done there. But yeah, I think what's frustrating about this character. I mean, to be honest, this is what I put down before I realised he'd experimented on other human beings before, because I can understand why he would be like this if he was fully really into this conspiracy theory, so much so, he's other people have been in his basement, but he is not really that political. Despite
that is interesting. Yeah. Well, he literally says he does the whole thing, right? Of like, I've been everything.
Yeah, and most of these guys who are these conspiracy theorists are political. I mean, you look at someone like Luigi Mangione, who I was going to bring up. He's not a conspiracy theorist really, but a similar thing happens. He takes out the CEO of a healthcare company, and yeah, you read up on him. He's like a weird guy, but he's very like political in like in his beliefs. And he's not really right wing or left wing. But he's very interested in politics, and I don't think it's realistic that this guy. Well, I don't think it's realistic that this guy wouldn't be that political, but he's clearly zeroed in on this specific conspiracy theory, and the evidence is, of course, he's done. He spent a lot of time on this. So I guess, does it make sense? Like he doesn't talk about, for instance, the World Economic Forum and Davos. He doesn't talk about all that shit, and I don't know, doesn't talk about COVID either. Like, does it make sense? Yeah, maybe, because like he's hyper focused on this specific thing. So there you go. My criticism maybe isn't actually a criticism of the fact that this guy is not that political.
It's a terrible criticism, and you should feel bad. Yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah. I feel like it's one of those things, almost a little bit like, we've had two movies that could have been political and weren't really in a row, haven't we? Well, I feel like in a way. I mean, look, Luke. Now would be a good time to talk about the review I saw, because the review I saw was, I think, to a significant degree motivated by political grievance. The guy who made the review seemed to be very he seemed to be a conservative, and he seemed to not like the fact that this film was, in his mind, mocking conspiracy theorists. I might be lying about this, but I swear he literally mentioned the Great Replacement, and he was mad that conspiracy theories like that are being made fun of. So I bring that up to say this movie, being as non-political as it is, still drew the ire of more politically inclined conspiracy theorists who were like, "Oh, this is just a woke Hollywood movie that's supposed to be making fun of people who are clearly a stand-in for MAGA conservative blah blah blahs." So I guess it didn't need to be any more political.
The thing, again, he's wrong on multiple accounts, because it's definitely not
the conspiracy theory is right. That's funny.
Because it's definitely not a standing for MAGA conspiracy theorists, because again, he's not political at all. In fact, I would say maybe he's more left wing than right wing. Although, of course, the humans beating the aliens.
The companies.
Yes, exactly. But the humans beating the aliens is an Alex Jones talking point. But yeah, I get, and of course he's very right wing. But again, he's not political. You can't look at this guy and think, oh yeah, he's like MAGA conservatives. I don't. That's it's ridiculous. Again, and highlights their victim complex and conservatives' victim complex. And point number two, yes, he's a weird guy, but he is correct. Like the conspiracy theory was correct all along, and
vindicated.
He is vindicated, and he doesn't blow him. Of course, he blows himself up, and that's not the smartest thing to do. At the end of the movie, he kills himself. But yeah, like if you want to talk about the Great Replacement theory, for instance, that's a conspiracy theory which is true. Well, yeah. I mean, this movie says that this grand conspiracy theory that aliens are running, humanity. Yeah, that's true.
Aliens from foreign places.
The reason why I wanted you to watch that video review, which is called like Bugonia Sucks or whatever, because I was like, okay, that's interesting because that's a different perspective to the reviews that I've seen on it, and it's like, okay, that could be interesting, as a contrast to what I've seen in terms of reviews. Of course, this movie's got nominated for Best Picture, and I thought it was quite good. Other reviewers of course liked it, and no, it's just like conservative.
Like there really wasn't any remote dimension of like
it just
informs
the
only thing like I kind of agreed with is obviously I think that it was worse, although again we'll get into that, but I thought I didn't like the fact that you find out she's actually an alien, and he also complained about that, there were like the thing, it was one of those situations where there were some kind of more, if you like, objective criticisms, but the thing is you can tell they were motivated by not objective things. Just
standard like conservative moaning about media stuff, which again is just the worst criticism imaginable, especially in the case of this movie where the guy reviewing, I haven't of course seen the video, but he sounds like he was flat out wrong on 2 counts, just right off the bat. So that's disappointing, but anyway.
By the way, also it's funny because the video had like 300 views. I'm enjoying the fact I'm enjoying the fact that like nowadays you get recommended videos by like tiny channels, and you're like, wow, my world is so much more schizo.
I think that's because our videos have a tiny amount of views. So
I like watching these stupid losers with their videos that only get a few hundred views. Fucking pathetic little bitch boys.
Yeah, exactly. But I was thinking, how did you get recommended that? Because it's so stupid. But again, 300 views. Okay, that makes sense. Right.
Teddy and Don release Michelle from the basement under careful supervision and invite her upstairs for dinner. The tense meal culminates in a physical fight. Don takes Michelle back to the basement after knocking her unconscious. So, he's trying to schmooze her. Clearly that chemical castration didn't work as well as they thought.
Yeah, so they talk about bees, which is, of course, the obvious parallel. This is when, it's again, maybe a bit on the nose, but Michelle, she tries to upset Teddy, I think, hoping to provoke him, and, of course, escape, which I was like, oh well, you think, again, a normal person would be scared, but this is a girl boss CEO. That's what I was thinking. Maybe you could interpret it as, because I was constantly thinking like, okay, if you don't know she's an alien, would this make sense? But like, if you're viewing her as this, girl boss CEO who's like, I can kick ass, I can take this guy down, But when it's an alien, when she's an alien, it's like, it's not as good that she's trying to provoke him, because obviously she has this power. But there were a couple of moments where she says the exact thing that is in Teddy's head, does Michelle, and that was a clue where it's like, there's clues here and there where it's like, she is an alien because she can read minds apparently. So there you go.
That makes sense. The fight is also interrupted by the arrival of Stavros Halkias, or Casey, the local police sheriff deputy and Teddy's childhood babysitter, who is searching for Michelle. Teddy distracts Casey with a conversation in which it is revealed that Casey molested Teddy in childhood, and also called him a gay retard. Okay, yeah, I remember that scene. Yeah, my nitpick for this section is Nick Mullins really let himself go. So this whole like molesting thing. I mean, like for me, it's just okay. Generally speaking, crazy people. Although again, this is why I'm thinking this guy is just entirely crazy. So whatever. But my thought was just crazy people. There tends to be some kind of trauma in the past.
Yes.
Do you have any sophisticated opinions on this revealed and somewhat then swept under the rug child molestation?
Well, I think it has 2 points. Obviously, it shows that Teddy, has been trained to dislike authority figures because of what happened. So these people in charge of you, they will hurt you, and of course, this guy is a cop now as well, which is interesting.
He could be one of the good ones.
Yeah, and then it also speaks to the fact that humanity is viewed by the Andromedans. Eventually, of course, at the end of the movie, their conclusion is humanity is evil, and of course, this is another evil act that is committed by one human to another. So there you go. I think it shows there's a dark underbelly of humanity in this movie, and that is that is another example of it.
No, yeah, absolutely. Can I also just go on record and say I also agree that paedophilia is an example of a bad thing in humanity.
That's
when
good.
Michelle,
yes. Well,
yes.
sorry. Yeah, that is good. But can I just talk about the fact that, of course, I'm
yes.
surprised you skipped past this.
The fact Stavros Halkias is in this movie.
The fact that Stavros Halkias is in this movie. He is acting alongside Jesse Plemons. Of course, one of the best actors I think around. I think he's not an A-list actor. Maybe he's a B-list. And then Emma Stone, who is probably an A-list actress. I think, of course, Emma Stone is very famous, even though they don't share a scene together. And I was really hoping they'd share a scene together, because I would have loved to have seen Stavros, with Emma Stone. But we didn't get that. But yeah, it's just amazing. Like, obviously, I did listen to Come Town back in the day, and yeah, it's crazy to see this guy in a movie like this. And he's a child molester cop.
I was going to say, it's not a dignified role for him to be playing, to be fair. It's kind of like, you sort of think like, oh man, I'm going to be in this art movie. Everyone just would have thought of me as like someone from that offensive, edgy podcast. But now, I'm really taking a step up in the world. It's like, okay, so we want you to play the child molester.
Yeah. Again, it's great though. Like, you can't really criticize Yorgos for casting him. Of course, I think he's Greek. Obviously, that's where the connection comes in. But you can't, because it's like, oh yeah, what a disgusting podcast he was on. Come Town. You have to cast a different guy to be the child molester. Yeah. But yeah, I bet Stavros laughed when he saw like he wanted him to be a child molester.
Yeah, he did that. Yeah, it's annoying he doesn't do his world famous laugh on this show. Oh, sorry, on this film.
He should, but yeah, I don't know. When did you first start listening to Come Town?
I don't remember it. I feel like it was,
because I know you have listened to it.
Yeah, I have. I'm going to guess, admittedly, a little bit of just with a broad window. I think like 2018.
But the thing is, I don't think they got popular until during the pandemic. Well, at least that, from my perspective, I think that's the case. I don't know. This may just be personal bias, because I remember. I started listening to them during the pandemic.
I'll tell you how I found out about them. Through Reddit, which is funny because they make fun of Reddit. But I think I remember, and this is like a weird thing that happens sometimes, is that like podcast subreddits will post, like they'll just have like a generic meme fandom, and I'll just like post random memes. So I think like I saw a funny meme, and then I saw it was on this thing called Come Town. And yeah, because I remember, I think I discovered them very indirectly. But even then, the weird thing is, I never actually, I don't think I've ever listened to a whole episode. I was like, oh, who are these guys? I'm also going to actually admit this, because this is a vaguely fun fact, but it's not that fun. When I first heard about them, I assumed, because I was still, a wokey, more so than now, that because a lot of their content seemed to be quite edgy, that they must be a right-wing conservative podcast.
Yeah.
So
no, I knew that wasn't the case.
That's
but
me.
The thing is, I listened to them, like I said, during the pandemic, because it was like, there's nothing to do, and I can't remember how I found them. But yeah, I just started listening to all their episodes, and again, that was almost 6 years ago. And if you told me back then, oh yeah, this guy Stavros Halkias is going to be starring in a movie with Emma Stone and Jesse Plemons, and it's going to be nominated for Best Picture, that's insane. But then again, like, look at what Adam Friedland's doing. He recently interviewed Alec Baldwin.
The podcasty. Yeah.
Alec Baldwin on his talk show. Yeah, and then of course Zoran Mamdani as well, which isn't as surprising, I guess. But yeah,
3,000 guys.
I think that it's wild, because you're listening to that, and it's like, there's no way these people will ever have successful careers in the media, because it's just so out there. But I guess the main guy who did all the racist shit, So Nick Mullen, who of course was the core of that podcast, he has not found mainstream success. So maybe those two can separate themselves from him potentially. But
Yeah, that is like, yeah, it is really funny to me that he's just like, and then you think about like, it's so funny because like Adam Friedland, he never even said a single word for the entire podcast.
Yeah, well,
So
that's why it's okay for him to interview
exactly.
politicians and Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, literally the whole podcast was just like my memory of it. I haven't listened, I don't listen to it religiously, but my memory is it's basically just Nick Mullen says something racist. Howcast goes and then Adam Friedland goes and, like you just have him mumbling in the background, and that's a winning formula. So we could work on
Yeah.
that.
Have you ever?
My audio is gonna fucking peak and sound so bad for that. I just looked at the waveform when I did that Stavros laugh.
Have you ever? Have you ever listened to the 4-hour intellectually disabled mega cut compilation?
No, I have not listened to the 4 intellectually disabled metal. Yeah.
That it's one of the best videos on YouTube. But anyway, let's continue.
Yes, absolutely. When Michelle regains consciousness, she offers to help Don if he reports Teddy to the police. Don says that he only wants to go to outer space with Michelle, and after she promises to take him, he shoots himself in the head. Casey responds to the sound of the gunshot, but Teddy bludgeons him to death with a shovel and returns to the basement where he discovers Don's body. I'll say this, I loved like that moment, well, like, because that just comes out of nowhere. Like, you're just like, oh man, like you get these guys are crazy and stuff, but like Don's like an interesting character because he seems kind of, I mean, there's a lot going on with him. He's clearly been like manipulated and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, just to see him like just shoot himself crazy, that was like,
yeah,
I was like, that's fun.
Yeah. I think there is again a parallel between how Teddy treats Don and how obviously other people treat, there's the theme of subjugation.
He molested Don.
Yeah, the theme of subjugation returns again and again, and you can see it with Don and Teddy. But yeah, again, the actor. This is why I was going to point out he does a good job. So you know what? So does Stavros Halkias. Why wasn't Stavros nominated for Best Supporting Actor? That's what I want to know.
He should have been nominated for Best Supporting Factor.
That's a good one. He'd laugh at that. So I do. So why does Don kill himself? It's an interesting thing that happens. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe he's just so guilty. He wants to end his life. I'm not sure. But yeah.
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 I think it could just be because he's like, I don't know, you don't want to just say like because he's like crazy, but like it seems like he's very depressed. You get the impression like he feels, I think you kind of said like his only escape. Yeah, it feels like he seems probably pretty trapped by his cousin. They're cousins, aren't they?
Yeah.
I think that makes most sense. Michelle convinces a frantic Teddy that a bottle of antifreeze in her car is secretly an Andromeda, no, like we've been saying that word the whole time and I screw up, antidote that will cure his mother. Teddy rushes to the hospital and injects the antifreeze into Sandy's IV bag. In the original South Korean film, the mother dies more accidentally, while she is also in a coma due to corporate drug trials. Her death happens as a result of the chaos and the protagonist's neglect during his mission. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I almost read IV as like 4, because I'm so Roman numeral pilled.
And I think the original South Korean version, you could say, is better because this guy is so obsessed with this mission that of course his loved one dies, of course, which is interesting. But I think this is also quite interesting because obviously Teddy is mentally ill. That's clear, even though he's right with this conspiracy theory, and I think I think the reason why he grabs the antifreeze is because it's it's an easy answer, and a conspiracy, in terms of this will save your mum. So just and
it's like ivermectin or whatever they call it.
Yeah, it is like ivermectin. Yeah,
it's like you don't understand, so just go for this stupid thing, even though it's definitely going to be more harmful.
Yeah, conspiracy theorists like easy answers.
Coach Carnival Cameron.
Yeah, Coach Carnival Cameron. Great, thank you. But yeah, they like easy answers, and this I think is a demonstration of that. He just wants the world to be simple. Even though of course he's correct about his conspiracy theory, but it shows the tendencies of conspiracy theorists. And that's the conservative guy before who said like, oh yeah, it's like mocking conspiracy theorists. I mean, it is doing it somewhat because of course this guy is mentally ill.
Yeah, I have very little regard for conspiracy theorists. The thing that always like makes me funny is like, I don't like about conspiracy theorists, just for the record, I don't like how shameless they are. I don't like the fact that like there's people I know, I say like know, like follow, who are conspiracy theorists, and like every few months they'll be like, oh look, here's an article saying that COVID is still a thing. This is the lockdown was just the beginning. They've been planning and blah blah, and they come up with all this stuff. and then nothing happens, and like they're still posting the same thing years later. It's like just like that's what I don't like. The thing I don't respect about conspiracy theorists is they'll never be like, oh wait, I was wrong. It's just, that's what I don't like about conspiracy theorists, and that's why I think they deserve to be mocked, because I bet this guy, I bet this guy, he believed in like a half dozen other alien conspiracy theories before he stumbled upon this one, and now he's gonna be like, oh, you see, I was right.
Yeah.
He just got lucky.
Yeah.
Anyway.
So I think the movie critiques conspiracy theorists as a personality, not in terms of the substance, but as a personality. Because in general, their personality, like these are not like sane people. I'm sorry, that's just the reality. But the core of what he believes is, of course, correct. So yeah, I think the movie does a good job of balancing criticism of conspiracy theorists and also actually like, oh yeah, what he believed in was actually correct as well. I think it balances that well.
No, absolutely, I would agree. Exploring the basement, Michelle finds jars of human body parts, along with a binder containing photographs of several other captive people Teddy suspected of being Andromedans. Yeah, so this is where the movie gets certainly, I would say, more dark, because there's been no indication these people have murdered people before, and now we see he definitely has, and probably done all sorts of horrible stuff.
Yeah, I was surprised about this twist, because I don't think it's that. It should be more impactful, but it is a massive twist that this isn't the first person, and there's hints before that. Yeah, that this isn't the first person he's like tortured. But maybe he was. I was speculating he was maybe experimenting on himself. With that electroshock thing that he was doing.
Yeah, absolutely. Teddy returns home and confronts Michelle, who intimidates him as she recounts an alternative version of his alien conspiracy. Out of guilt over accidentally causing the mass extinction of the dinosaurs, the Andromedans created humanity in their own image. While there was peace at first in Atlantis, early humans experimented with their genome, resulting in greater aggression and a global nuclear war that destroyed all but a few, who gave rise to the current, more violent human race, who have been destroying themselves and their planet. Yep, that's what I believe. It's the I think it's called the Finno-Korean Hyperwar. I don't know if you've heard of it.
Yeah. So of course, this is the twist. It's like, yes, she was an alien all along, and again, like there's a thematic reason for it, and of course, the original South Korean movie had this twist as well, but it's just not as good. Well, here's the thing: there's still a chance she's making this all up. Which would have been great, honestly. The thing is, I'm watching this and I'm thinking, oh, here is where the reveal is. But again, I suppose if you don't know that she is an alien, you could think she is just making all of this up, and of course all these conspiracy theories, are all this story, which of course is a brand new conspiracy theory. That's the only way she can convince this guy to let her escape, if she plays into his fantasy, but then not even like plays into the fantasy, like expands the fantasy, and
you out crazy the crazies.
Yeah, and does it really convincingly as well. Like, I think that would be a great idea, but of course, no, it's actually, she's not doing that at all. She's just telling the truth. But yeah, I again, if this movie did go in a completely different direction, I think you could still have this scene.
Well, the thing is, so for me, I will say this: I did not take this to be definitive proof she was an alien, although I was this point thinking, oh, is that where they're going? The thing is, like, my kind of interpretation, or like the feeling, because I'm always like, when I'm watching films, what I'm like? I'm just a very active watcher. I think that's the one thing that people always agree kind of defines me, like to think about films really intensely. And I was like trying to think, like, where's this film going in terms of its message? And I was thinking, like, oh, the film's kind of about echo chambers, and like obviously they kind of explicitly talk about that, and it's like the way that like delusional ideas reinforce themselves. And the reason why I thought that is because earlier on, she does try going along with it, saying like, oh, I am an alien, you're right, blah, blah, blah. And obviously that ends up getting her tortured with the electricity thing. So I was like, okay, the message there is that she tried playing along with his delusions, but that just emboldened him to get even more crazy. So when this happened, I was thinking to myself, oh no, this ruins my theory, because now she's actually going along with his delusions to her benefit. So that was like my interpretation. Overall, yeah, I think like there are many reasons why it would work perfectly fine if she was out crazying the crazy. Yeah,
I just really like the idea of playing into his delusions and going a bit further and creating a whole new story, a whole new conspiracy. That blows his mind and defeats him. But obviously
it would be like the horror movie Amusement, where she defeats the serial killer by pretending to think that his practical jokes are funny.
Yeah, I know. I haven't seen that, but yeah, thanks for interrupting me again with that. But yeah, I really would like that, but of course, that would mean the movie is going in a completely different direction. So yeah, I just like a different movie. Which is frustrating, where you can see the potential of something quite different, but it's there. But like the movie is just not interested in going down that path. But,
Yeah.
yeah.
The Andromedans have spent thousands of years benevolently trying to guide humans away from their innately flawed, violent nature. The aliens were waiting to see if humanity was worth saving. By torturing Michelle to save the world, Teddy actually proves to the aliens that humans are inherently violent and cruel. Yeah, I mean, like, the thing is, why didn't they go to the ET kid, right? Like, then it would have been fine.
Yeah.
They would have been like, oh, they're really nice, they're wonderful people. I mean, the government shit, but
Yeah. So again, it puts a different. All the scenes at the beginning look different because she's trying to basically see. Oh yeah, this guy. No, we. There's no need to harm me. We can talk about this respectfully, negotiate. Because she's also almost testing the humans, or testing Teddy specifically, of course, to see like, oh, how far is this guy going to go? Which again is quite interesting. Looking back on it, but yeah, again, the whole subversion is, of course, the elites are actually doing something good, which they are controlling humanity, but they're doing something good, which is completely subversive to what you would expect, in these kind of movies. Obviously, like if aliens are taking over humanity, they have some nefarious purpose. But yeah. What do you think?
No, yeah. I feel like if there is a conspiracy theory, it's probably not good. I always had an idea for like a TV show where there is like basically there's two layers of conspiracy, and the evil conspiracy people, they are entirely non-violent because they have so much control over society that they can basically get all of their evil outcomes without having to do anything evil. And then there's a secondary conspiracy, which is trying to stop the bad conspiracy, because they actually want a good outcome, but because they don't have any power, they're forced to use like torture and human experimentation and stuff like that. So it's basically means versus ends. Because that's how I've always like thought it would be. Because like the people who really are in charge of society, they're probably like they're not doing all the really evil stuff because they have so much power. They don't, or rather, no, they're doing all the evil ends, but they don't use evil means because they have so much power. That's my take. So I feel like if anything, I mean, these people are kind of the best of both worlds, right? Though, because they have good ends and good means. So. Mm-hmm. Bring them on. They're kind of like Jesus.
Yeah.
Good. Anyway, the climax, as it were. They arrive at her office, where Teddy reveals himself to be wearing an explosive suicide vest. Michelle instructs Teddy to enter her closet, which she claims is a teleporter to her ship. As Teddy enters the closet, the vest detonates by mistake, killing him and knocking Michelle unconscious. She awakens in an ambulance but returns to her office, enters the closet, and teleports to the Andromedan mothership. Here's a question, Luke. I wonder if you know. What would have happened if his vest hadn't exploded?
Well, he would have probably visited the Andromedans.
And what do you think would have happened? Like, presumably they would have, because if they think he's so evil that his existence proves that, like, so presumably nothing, like, it wouldn't have been any different. Like, yeah. This doesn't, yeah.
And I don't think things would have ended differently. There would have just been a scene with him on the spaceship, and he would have been confronted with, everything that happened. And
you're a dickhead.
He would have tried to defend himself, or maybe he would have done something violent because that would reveal humanity's inherent violent nature, and then the Andromedans would be like, "See, there you go." Yeah.
This is funnier though because he explodes.
And it keeps the potential alive, of course. That Emma Stone is not an alien. It keeps.
It does absolutely, yes.
That twist going, and you don't know until the very, very end.
Yeah, although I like to imagine it was just an unconscious dream she had. Michelle, now revealed as the genuine Andromedan leader, consults with her fellow Andromedans and concludes that the human experiment has failed. She pops a clear, bubble-like dome, instantly killing all humans living on Earth, though all other animal and plant life remains. Michelle gazes out at the planet, now devoid of human life, as birds fly and bees slowly return to Teddy's apiary. The ending suggests that humanity is a violent, flawed experiment that has failed its environmental and moral tests, concluding that the planet would be better off without us. You could say a little bit of a downer ending.
It depends, because I saw the writer, the screenwriter Tracy say, it depends on your perspective. You could say it is a disappointing or depressing ending because all of humanity is dead, but humans were killing the planet, so now that virus is gone.
Yeah, I guess, but then like the weird thing about it though is like now, because when you think about like animals like killing each other out in the wild, that's not very nice. So I feel like the animals in the wild, they're still going to be causing each other a lot of pain. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying like humans are great. I'm just saying, like now it's just going to
You know,
be lions clamping down on antelopes' necks, slowly asphyxiating them. It's going to be still going to be pretty miserable. That's
yeah,
all
but
I'm
I think
saying.
there's a difference between doing that because of survival
Yeah,
reasons.
not destroying the planet. Yeah.
Yeah, and doing so just because you can do it. But I do think, of course, Earth is sort of like this petri dish. Is that how you say it?
Yep.
Yeah, I that's what it looks like, which I think is a fun little
Yeah.
visual.
Well, obviously this confirms the flat Earth. That's another thing, isn't it? Weird.
Yeah, and of course this the major theme is the human extinction is going to happen due to our inability to coexist with nature. And yeah, so the people who wrote this, what's he called? I think it's Will Tracy. That was it.
Yeah.
Like this guy, an insane environmentalist. If of course what the movie is suggesting is that is actually his thoughts. Where he said humanity needs to die, or it's going to die eventually because it can't coexist with nature. Very very much a pro environmentalist position, right there. Which again, and that's the whole point of the movie. So to act like, oh, it would have been better if Emma Stone's character wasn't an alien. Again, you're just looking at a whole completely different movie with a different thematic point at the end. But shall we conclude now, Michael? You go first.
Yeah, let's do that. All right. Yes. Overall, yeah, like I say, this film, I'd be interested to see how it is going into it, knowing everything. Overall, like, I feel like the issue for me is that the theme, there's not like a theme's like really intense, because kind of like everything is like, okay, well, they're like conspiracy theorists, but it's like, well, is the message that conspiracy theorists sometimes right? Like when you kind of look at all the aspects of it's one of those things where like if you come up with an interpretation, then no matter what, you'll always just see so many things that don't really work with it. So kind of like, I don't know.
Well,
sometimes films can leave things ambiguous and it's okay.
I don't think this is ambiguous at all. I just told you what like the central thematic.
Well, the
point
message
was.
is like that human beings suck.
Yes,
but
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, fine. In that case, I just don't agree. I mean,
okay, fine. You can not agree, Michael, but don't act like it's not ambiguous.
I don't think it's a. Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. But I think that's like it's such a just I'm 14 and this is deep kind of a message.
Well, that's what I just said.
Man, what if humanity is the virus, dude? So yeah, like that's the thing. To me,
that's literally you just did not listen to like the past minute of what I said. That's literally what I said.
I was mentally thinking about what I was going to say for my conclusion, because I knew I could tell you were wrapping up. So I was like, what am I going to say for my conclusion? And all I heard was the buzzing of bumblebees.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, your
as I was thinking about my conclusions.
Your ADHD preventing you.
Okay, fine. But in that case, you've given my conclusion. So yeah, basically, I was thinking, I don't know, like a middling 7. That seems, it's okay. It's pretty entertaining. It could go up on a second watch. It could go down. Maybe I'll be like, because again, like I say, I actually really enjoyed the start because I found it so like intense and almost like this really uncomfortable horror thing of like, oh, this woman in this situation. Whereas now watching it, I feel like I'll be a little bit like, okay, this woman actually, she's pretty much in control of the situation the whole time in some sense. Obviously, I mean, there is a danger, but she is an alien. She knows whatever. Anyway, so for me, that's the limitation. Middling 7. Not bad. Not great. I don't think I could give this film an 8. There we go.
It would have been nice during the actual review when I was pointing out, the idea is that humanity is inherently violent, and even when we talked about like Bugonia, like the carcass of human civilization needs to die for nature to thrive. If you pointed out that you thought, oh, that's not very deep, that's like what a 14-year-old would say, then we could have maybe had a discussion on that perhaps. But yeah, because I don't think I do think it's potentially immature. But I think, honestly, like you look at what humans have done to this earth, they've done a lot of pretty bad things. And it is not surprising to me that somebody maybe would take the position that humans are a virus. If you just look at objectively, because the thing is, Michael, which you haven't really, seen, you're obviously very biased with the fact that you are a human. If you were not a human and looked at what humanity had done to the world, you would. I think that you could very easily conclude, humanity, have completely fucked up a lot of things. All the species that they've destroyed, all the environments that they've destroyed. So I don't think it's immature necessarily. So do you understand what I'm saying there?
Yeah, no, yeah, I get you. I get that humanity isn't perfect. I understand. I hate to, I think my defense of humanity is I feel like we're not perfect because we dream, because we come up with big ideas. And I feel like it's kind of a case of if you never fly, then you'll never touch the sun or
Yeah,
whatever. I feel like that's how humans are. Humans, we kind of we push and we invent loads of cool crazy stuff. But
yeah,
because of that, it means the crazy people get to go crazy too. But
yeah.
it's
But
fun.
I think there is a transition between ambition and then what then becomes like destruction.
Yeah.
And I think
Transition and oh no, I was gonna no, ignore me.
yeah,
Continue.
like for example, the Amazon rainforest, how it's being destroyed. Like you could
Allegedly.
you can't look at that and say, oh, that's just the Brazilians being ambitious. Well, no, not at all. Like there's no like grand ambitious plan going on that will make things better for humanity. It's just they're destroying the environment, so obviously more people can like plant stuff, and again, it's not necessary. Like the Amazon can be preserved and humanity can still thrive. For instance, that's a very basic example which
Yeah.
again undercuts your whole point. And I do again. I think your initial reaction to like, oh yeah, it's a depressing ending because humanity is dead. Yeah, you could say that, but like it shows like where your biases are. And you're not really thinking about from the perspective of like an alien race who are just viewing things neutrally as like, oh yeah, what have these again? They don't see the life of a human as any more valuable than the life of another animal. That is an issue which of course humanity has caused. But anyway, again, it would be great if we could have had this discussion earlier on, not in the conclusion. But whatever.
When are you rating it, Luke?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to say yeah again. My overall frustration with this movie is again I think I don't dislike it. Again, I'm gonna give it an 8 out of 10. But again, there could have been an even better movie. But again, going in a completely different direction, different thematically, which I would have really liked with it, and the point would have been more what I kind of agree with, which is these elites are just so like crazy. They are so alien like that it doesn't really matter, and they are actually doing harm to the world. But that's not the point of the movie at all. So yeah, let's say 8 out of 10, and it's again potentially frustrating. But yeah, what are we reviewing next week, Michael?
Next week we're reviewing Sinners. Let me tell
Yeah.
you, Luke. If I could, I would have nominated it a 17th time.
Yeah, I saw that joke today.
I know, I saw it too.
Yeah. Anyway, join us for Sinners next time. Have you been Michael?
I've been Michael.
I've been Luke. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.